Welcome back for round 4 at Mallala. Very quick turnaround between this and the last race, only 2 weeks to get our stuff organised between the two. Fortunately, no major issues with either car, so it wasn't too hard, but having them so close together is a little bit stressful. So it's another very early Friday morning to get ready for practice. The first step's always setting up the garage, and every round it tends to get a little bit easier because we get better at it. We've now crossed the halfway point of our first season, so we've had a bit of practice getting organised and have developed a little bit of a routine getting all set up. So this weekend's a very condensed weekend because we have no running on the Sunday. We have 5 practice sessions on the Friday, and then we're straight into qualifying on Saturday with 3 races following that. So straight into an onboard lap of the Mallala circuit. I really enjoy this track. It's very physical, very short, doesn't give you a lot of time to sort of relax. It's also one of those tracks that has a few quirks. So for example here, tipping it into turn 1, there's a massive bump on the apex. That's there deliberately because it stops the Formula cars from taking that corner flat. So you've got to handle the bump, hang on to the car, and then try not to drift too far to the left so that the car's lined up for a nice entry on the center of the track for turn 2. So super late apex for turn 2, you've got to make sure you keep it out wide and then bring it in right at the end. Manage the understeer on the exit, particularly in these cars that are front wheel drive. Get it nice and straight and get the power down for this little runaway here. Turn 3 is one that catches out the new guys. You brake at the 50-meter board because of the way the corner is shaped, go super deep and then swing another late apex and then really try to get the power down as straight as you can. Massive straight will absolutely punish you if you get this one wrong. Turn 3 is one of those really good racing corners because the fastest line actually leaves you super vulnerable to an attack down the inside. So this is turn 6 now. The numbers don't really make sense, but yeah, get the car to the left as much as you can. It's another late apex, but the real trick with this corner is to make the corner as straight as possible. So use as much of the width as you can and then hold it to the left side on the exit. Use as much of the track as you can, including the bit of the apron that I've got there on the left. Shorten the distance to the next corner. So we're coming up on turn 8, and this one's a real doozy. Get to the left as much as you can, jump over the bumps, don't lock up. It's an old bit of track, this one, very slippery. So you got to keep the exit of 8 as far to the right as you can to open up the entry to 9. Jump over the curves for 9 and 10, and then try to keep it within the white lines for the track, otherwise you lose your lap in qualifying. And that's a lap of Mallala. So first drama of the weekend, the shifter cable popped out again. Same thing happened in round 1, happened again. Quick and easy fix, back on track for practice 2 again. So this is in the final practice of the day, coming into turn 6. So exiting turn 6, went for 3rd gear, and 3rd gear decided it didn't want to exist anymore. Still had 2nd, was still able to limp back to the pits. This is the exact same feeling as what had happened early in practice 1 where the shifter cable has popped out. And I thought that was just what happened again. Turns out a little bit more sinister. So I've come in back to the garage thinking it was going to be a super quick and easy fix. Put the cable back on the gearbox, do a back up, bit of Loctite, back out, finish practice, off we go. However, it wasn't until we opened up the bonnet, had a look, noticed that both of the cables for the gear selector were still attached to the gearbox, and we still had no selection of the gears. So, not a good sign, a little bit more severe than we thought.
I think I've done a gearbox.
Not good.
Might be a long night. Oh well, we'll see. Haven't done one before, but...
It was a very long night. Thanks massively to the guys at Grunter Racing for lending me a gearbox to get me back out for the rest of the weekend. As you can see in that shot, the gearbox always has a bit of metal confetti in it. The gearbox, we took it off the car, sounded like a jar of marbles, which is not a good sign. The 3rd to 4th gear selector fork basically disintegrated and didn't want to play the game anymore. I seriously cannot thank the guys at Grunter enough. Gearboxes in this category are becoming a real shortage item. They're one of those things that tend to just fail all the time in these cars. So much so that one of the other teams in round 1 at this track again had 4 go in one weekend with 4 cars. So big weekend for them. Grunter were able to lend me their spare, and not only did they lend me the spare, they also helped me by putting it in for me during the night. So thank you Ben, Adrian, Andrew and Kat for staying back. All the racing you're seeing from now on is only possible because of those people for staying back and helping me out and getting that gearbox back in the car, getting me up and running. We qualified in the dry and we knew the rain was coming, but boy did it come. It was pouring down. So I've never driven a race in the wet before, and to say I was a little bit nervous is a bit of an understatement. I was actually quite scared, to be honest. I was worried about someone running into me, but I quickly had to push it down and get on with it. As soon as you get on track, you're gonna find where the grip is and do what you came here for. So lining up in the grid at this sort of position at Mallala is always quite weird because you're sort of at the last corner and you're trying to get it straight. Eyeballing the lights is always very difficult, but we managed and got a decent start, kept up, second gear, up to third now. Very tentative, very aware of the conditions, and just take it very, very easy into turn 1. Scared of what's going on in front of me. Car in front of me has a wobble. I know there's not a lot of grip. Watching the guys in front, seeing what they're doing with the car, follow the cars that have the grip. So as you see, as I cross the dry line, the normal racing line, it just gets really slippery. The rubber from all the running during the dry actually creates a smooth, slick surface over the track. It basically means the water can't dig into the road. It's sort of it's nice and smooth. Really great in the dry because you have lots of grip, a lot of rubber to rubber surface. But in the wet, it's just absolutely slick. So the most grip I found was actually off the racing line. Braking in the center of the track, braking on the inside. So everywhere you think you should be driving the track in the dry, like your normal natural instinct racing line, just try to avoid it as much as you can. Stay off of it because it is slippery death. But even with the conditions as sketchy as they are, that does not stop these boys at all. These guys are still getting into each other, the racing's still on, it is fights on. So this is coming into turn 8. This is the oldest and slipperiest part of the track as I lock up and go deep into the corner. This is the last bit of the track that hasn't been resurfaced. So the depth of the bitumen itself is actually quite thin. So the water can't penetrate into it, so it just tends to sit on top. And this is a demonstration of why you avoid the curbs and white painted lines, because they are also slippery death. So staying on the inside line, able to brake a lot later than Brand in front of me. Way more grip off the racing line. The wet line, super counterintuitive, but it definitely is a real thing and it works. Make the dive with Brand and then it's a drag race down the back straight. So Brand's trying to box me into the inside line here for turn 6 coming up, which is what you definitely want to do in the dry. Compromises your entry, slows you down. He brakes on the normal line, has trouble getting it stopped, leaves it wide open for me to come through, and I just close the door on the exit for him. So a little bit later in the race, the weather definitely hasn't gotten any better. In fact, it's getting progressively worse, and this is a wild moment coming into turn 1. So that was a brown pants moment for myself and the crew watching the hill at turn 1. Held on to it and got some cool style points at the Mallala drift competition this weekend. So as the weather's getting worse and worse, more and more people are getting caught out. So here's Adrian getting caught out by a little bit of lack of grip coming into turn 6. And another free position for myself. Mission now is just to hang on. Which is easier said than done, because now it's my turn to get on top of the water, and coming into turn 8, just aquaplane, lock up and come off the end of the track. Luckily it was only a really minor off and I stayed out of the gravel, and Adrian gets that position right back. Fortunately I also lost position to Aiden Morrison as well, but all things considered it could have been a lot worse. So coming into turn 3 again, finding the grip, and Adrian has a little bit of a wobble, allowing me to absolutely capitalise, steal a position from him, drag race him down into turn 6, and before we can even keep racing, safety car, boards and flags. So somebody's gone off at turn 8 and has got stuck in the gravel, as you do, it's pretty deep out there, and we finished this race under safety car.
Remember, we have the next round of the series coming up on the weekend between July 11 and 13. It'll be at Seaview Motorsport Park, Australian Championship.
So that is my first wet race done and dusted. Huge achievement, to be honest, massive achievement. First time I ever got out the car and actually had the shakes. I had to sit down and just chill out for a second after that. That was unreal. In those conditions, you're at such high alert. Just the level of adrenaline is unbelievable. I can see why people love the wet. What an absolute rush. Well, we couldn't sit down and relax for too long because our second race got pushed an hour ahead of schedule, and with the conditions progressively getting worse, this one was going to be a real challenge. Unfortunately, getting to the grid, I discovered I've got super unlucky with my starting position and I cannot see the start lights at all, completely blocked by the car in front of me. So I had to look at the other cars and guess when the start was. So predictably, I get a rubbish start because I'm reacting off of everyone else moving, and I get jumped by a couple cars off the line. So with all the spray, the visibility is not good at all. Just being super careful coming into turn 3, everyone's bunching up and just trying to find the grip and keep the nose clean. And with the heavier rain, there are puddles starting to form around the track. For instance, there's one on the straight here on the right side of the gutter that's forming, and it's starting to actually cover up the right hand side of the track, causing me to lift off. On these opening laps, it seems to be an absolute challenge for everybody to keep it on the road, and there's a minor incident in every corner. That just means there's big points on the table for anyone that can keep it on the track for the whole race. But that's also not deterring the guys on track from racing each other, as Norval comes alongside me into turn 9 and 10. Norval goes wide at the exit of 10, getting up on the slippery curves, which absolutely stops his getaway. I'm hunting for grip and trying to find it on a alternative line that doesn't really exist to turn 1. I leave the door wide open for him and he comes sweeping around the outside of turn 1 on me. As you can probably start to see, the visibility from the inside of the car is getting really bad. I'm getting major fogging issues as the car's getting hotter inside, and I'm desperately trying to clear the windshield a little bit with my hand. I can only see really out of that top little pocket at the top right. The rest of the windshield is just completely fogged. Now this is a problem because I can't really see the road, and then coming into turn 8, I drive over a puddle, aquaplane, and just send it completely off the end of the track. and I went off deep. I get stuck in the gravel, doing everything I can not to get bogged. I am holding in second gear, revving it. That little bit of forward drive experience is coming in. I'm paddling left and right to get the tyres moving, digging my way out. And that bit didn't need a caption, I'm sure, and that's how you lose 8 positions in one corner. I still can't really see, but I know I'm quicker than the guys in front of me and I'm furious. So I know where the grip is in turn 3, I'm about 4 car lengths behind Connor here and I absolutely dive bomb him. Now I'm in front of Connor, the next car is just ahead and that's Butler. And again, I know where the grip is, and another absolute send into turn 6. That's 2 cars and 2 corners, with the next one right ahead. It's amazing the moves you can make when you're angry. But before I can make any more moves on any other cars and recover any more positions, the safety car gets thrown because someone's stuck in the gravel. This was absolutely devastating because I knew I could get past the cars in front, I just couldn't race them. Now I was hoping we get a few more green laps, but unfortunately it ended under the safety car and I lost all the opportunity to be able to recover any more of the positions I lost. I was super upset with myself because I threw away that race. And I also made the same mistake I made in race 1, again in race 2. Now race 3 got pushed way ahead of schedule as well. We barely had enough time just to fuel up the car and clean out the extra 5 kilos of mud that I dragged off the track with me. Now despite what happened in race 2, I had to push that to one side because this was a blank slate, a fresh canvas to really redeem myself. Starting from 21st on the grid, this is my opportunity to make up what I lost. So the first major positive is I could see the start lights and I get a really good getaway. And coming to turn 1, I've managed to close the gap to my teammate. Now coming around turn 2, Wallace manages to find some grip around the outside that I didn't find myself, and out drags me into turn 3. Now being the first lap, everyone's bunched up, so I'm having to fend off a few attacks from all angles, but that doesn't stop me from looking ahead and trying to make the move on my teammate in front of me. So by using a little bit of side draft and getting a good exit, I get past my teammate, and then it's eyes front, block him off for the entry into turn 6, make sure he can't make the move back on me, and then it's eyes forward trying to get the cars in front. So the rain's actually stopped, so the conditions are a lot better than race 2, but it's still slippery and we still got to be really careful. So coming into turn 8 and the grip's always bad and the corner takes a few more victims. There's 4 cars off the track and that's 4 free positions gained in one corner. So looking at it, there was a bit of damage with a couple of the cars. One of the cars locked up and went deep on the brakes and speared another car, which then pushed that car into a third car. The fourth car I think just lost it by himself, but there was a couple cars stuck in the gravel and that brought out the safety car. So that's an early safety car and race 3 is a longer race, which means we're absolutely going racy again and I'm doing everything I can to maintain tyre temperature. So really aggressive swerving, loading up the sidewall of the tyre, stepping on the brake really hard, even dragging the brake under throttle, skidding the tyre across the surface of the road, doing everything I can to maintain that bulk temperature in the tyre. And now that the incident is cleared away, we are going racing. Now, safety car restarts are actually one of those things that are quite difficult. You want to try and maintain that really close gap to the car in front of them, but you also don't want to run into them or overtake them before the restart line. So definitely one of those things I got to get better at. Now coming into turn 2, I'm right on the back of Adrian Gallia, but I'm also getting massive pressure behind from Jacob Lang. So I'm trying to cover off Jacob behind me, and I slip on the curb a little bit on the apex of turn 2, which interrupts my getaway a little bit, which means that Jacob gets a bit of a run on me coming into turn 3 here. So again, I brake late on the right hand inside line of the track, cover off Jacob, try to make a move on Adrian at the same time. Jacob does the over and under and comes on the inside as well, making it 3 wide on the exit of turn 3. That was a super uncomfortable position to be in, but no contact between any of the cars. We kept it clean. Now I'm giving Jacob a bit of room here on the right because I know there's still a puddle there and I don't want him to bounce across the puddle on either side of me. So I give him a bit of room, but that also compromises me coming into turn 6 here. I'm on the bad line. The wet line's definitely the inside, and he just gets way more grip. Try to make the over and under stick, but he's just got more pace out of that corner than I do. So I just tuck in the draft, watch him, see what line he takes, go really easy in turn 8, but he goes even easier, and that closes the gap again between me and Jacob. Now that it's not actually raining, the conditions are actually probably more challenging because it's not just wet, it's actually just kind of greasy. So there's still a bit of spray, it's still damp, but it's just slippery. And this is demonstrated perfectly by Jacob, who takes a little bit, just a fraction too much speed into turn 1. Jacob did an awesome job keeping that straight. That's another position down, and the following lap, I'm right back on the tail of Adrian Gallia. So you might have heard on that announcer that this is the final lap. I get told that through my ear by my dad, who's my race engineer for this one, and I'm absolutely pushing like crazy, putting the pressure on Adrian. He goes deep into turn 8. It takes yet another victim. He goes deep and sends it off the track. Another position gain in the last couple of corners of the last lap. And that was my career best finish in this category so far. That was a P14 from P21. I was still a second and a bit quicker than the guy in front of me, so I could have got him if it was a few more laps, but look, oh hey, I'll take it. Career best finish, that's a win for me. And these short race weekends are a whirlwinder. As soon as we finish podium ceremony, and then we pack up and do it all again. Load the car up on the average hire trailer that I use and take the car home and go to bed. Next race, we're at the Bend West, so the short track, and we've got about a month's time to sort of prep for this one, so it's not as urgent. I've got a bit of time to clean all the mud out of the car, and then we'll see you at the next one. I just want to say thank you again for the Grunter team for getting me going again with that gearbox failure. Couldn't have done any of the racing without them, so super grateful for them. You know, everyone coming up helping me, mum, dad, Lily on the tools as well, helping me with tire pressures and stuff. If you like this video, once again, leave a like, comment, subscribe for more. I enjoy making these. I enjoy people enjoying them, basically. So let me know what you think, and yeah, we'll see you on the next one.